Card King, here I come. Hello, music fans, music collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com, your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the program this morning, I welcome in one of the most powerful voices in heavy metal. He is renowned singer of the legendary Canadian heavy metal band Sword. We have with us the legendary Rick Hughes. Rick, great to have you.
Oh, great to be here. Great. Thank you so much for that nice introduction.
Absolutely, Rick. And, you know, I read the most current news on your latest work. The first salvo has been released in September last month, and it's quite an event in itself. Talk about that and give us what's happening, what's going on in your life.
Yeah, well, I was recording this album in Vancouver, and we were looking for songwriters to help with the album, and a friend of mine, Jesse Bradman, out of San Francisco, suggested that we listen to some songs written by Brad Gillis. So we did, and I immediately fell in love with a couple of songs. So he started to work on my album, and that's when we came about. I knew we were going to record The Real Me, and that we needed some big league players for this song. So we asked Brad. And Brad helped us get the two other guys on the project.
And of course, you know, that's Brad Gillis. Now, you know, you mentioned the Who's classic, The Real Me, and I want to just curious, why did you pick the Who's classic, The Real Me?
Because I'm a big fan of the Who. I didn't want to do a ballad, and I was looking for a song that was like. The Real Me is the closest you get to Zeppelin. I mean, by that is that when you listen to the song, like Zeppelin, you hear the drums, you hear the bass, you hear the guitar, you hear the voice. They all have their places. It's not all mixed together. So that was the perfect song to record and aim for major league players. So, like I said, Brad Gillis was our first choice, and he helped us recruit Rudy Sarzo and the legendary almighty Tommy Aldridge.
I mean, that is amazing. We got to remember this is a reuniting after 43 years of Ozzy Osbourne's super band, right?
Yeah, 43 years. And 43 years ago, I was a kid, and I would watch those guys on stage and be in awe with their talent, because there's like a 10 years gap between me and them, you know, about 10 years. So when they were 25, I was 15 years old, and I would go watch them at Montreal Forum. And I mean, those guys were my idols. So fast forward 40 years later, I'm in an LA Castle studio back in Burbank, and we're recording the video, and I'm pinching myself.
Yeah, and you know, we got to remember as well that it was the band that did the last leg of the Diary of a Madman tour in '82, right after the tragic departure of the great Randy Rhoads.
Absolutely, Brad Gillis is a legend, you know, for filling those shoes. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I was such a big fan of Ozzy. I was fan of his work with Sabbath. So when he came about with Diary and Blizzard of Oz, I was like, wow, this guy is so amazing. So when we heard here in Quebec about Randy Rhoads' tragic death, everybody was going, what's going to happen? You know, what's going to happen to... Well, of course, we were very sad for Randy Rhoads' family and all his friends, but we were thinking, what's going to happen to Ozzy, you know? So next thing you know, Speak of the Devil comes out, and when we put the needles on the vinyl, they went da 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 da. I remember the sound, the Brad Gillis sound, going, "Ooh, is that?" You know. So, anyways, I think about that story all the time because it really happened, and it's imprinted in my mind. The first time I heard about Brad Gillis.
And this is your first single, and also it's combined with a video, The Real Me. Am I right on that?
Exactly.
All
Yes.
right. So we have a little clip that I want to air a couple of minutes. Let's tease the audience, Rick, on your fabulous work and the band's fabulous work. Let's play a little sample. Let's hear it now. The Real Me. And we just heard a little sample. I mean, that sounds great. Classic heavy metal rock, Real Me, performed by Rick Hughes, who's with us this morning, along with legendary artists Brad Gillis, Rudy Sarzo, and Tommy Aldridge. I mean, that sounds fantastic, Rick, especially that guitar playing by Rudy.
Oh, man. Like I said, this is a perfect song to showcase the musicianship. I mean, Pete Townsend is brilliant. His songwriting is so clever. There's nothing more to say about this song. Just when I was listening to the song with you guys, I hoped that you didn't cut before the part where it's only the bass, the drum, and my voice, and then you hear all the drumming of Tommy Aldridge. Right. I mean, this guy. He's a master.
Yeah, I mean, just playing with Ozzy. All you have to know, these guys play with Ozzy. That's all you have to know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have a lot of people listening to the program. Rick, where can our listening audience obtain this new release? Tell us where can they purchase your new single?
Well, there's many ways, but an easy way would be to go and listen to watch the video on YouTube. They just type in Rick Hughes official, and they'll see The Real Me. And on the YouTube page, there's a link to Deco Entertainment. That's my record label back in the US. So you can pre-order the album. It's going to be out on the 24th of October. And there's many surprises on the album. It's not a heavy metal album. It's not a hard rock album. It's a rock album. What I mean by that is that rock music is, let's define rock music. The Beatles started when I Wanna Hold Your Hand, and they finished with Let It Be, So there's a world in between. Same with Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin went into the outdoors. Everything's there. You got rock, hard rock. You got hard blues. heavy blues, smooth blues, ballads, everything's there. That's how I define my album.
And Rick, I just signed on to Deco Entertainment, and I see that people can get a limited edition bundle with 7-inch singles signed by all of you guys. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm holding it right now in my hand. It's like a vintage 45 vinyl with the round in the middle, with the and there's only 100 copies that will be signed by the four of us. So there are not many more left.
Wow, limited edition and rare.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So now let's talk a little bit about Sword. Give our listeners who may not know about Sword. Talk about your band Sword.
Well, back in Sword is my first band with my brother Dan Hughes is on drum, with two friends from high school, Mike LaRock, Mike Platt. We recorded our first album back in '86 called Metallized, and it was well regarded in the heavy metal community, because back then, old school metal was like the flavor of the month. When we started Sword as a band, the four of us, we were mainly into classic rock, but then heavy metal took the front stage, so we kind of went towards that way, towards heavy metal, but we always been classic rock at heart. So that's Metallized in '86. In '89, it shows that we were more than heavy metal, than more classic rock than metal right there. And right after Sword, I recorded an album with Aldo Nova, which was called Saints and Sinners. Maybe you guys remember that project.
Yep. No, I heard of it. I'm reading about it. Yep.
So that brought me back home, because back then I was into heavy metal, but I was into heavy metal like Priest, Maiden, Sabbath, Ozzy, Dio, which was more of a mainstream kind of metal, if I can express myself like that. Later on, metal became very heavy, and that is not the direction I wanted to take with my voice. I'd rather be a rock singer than a heavy metal singer, and that again shows on the album that I'm about to release.
Absolutely. So Sword, they formed in '81 with Metallized, and then in '86 it was Sweet Dreams, right? Or was that '88?
No, we formed in '81. We released our first album in '86, our second in '89. And I released Saints and Sinners in '92.
In '92.
Yeah. And after that, I took a long break, but I kept working in showbiz. I was chorus for TV shows here. I was hired gun for plenty of stuff. I kept working, but more behind the cameras. So I did a couple of albums, a French solo album here in Quebec in 2006, 2013. But now it's my big comeback with this one. This one's a real one. I mean, this was produced by John Webster. John Webster worked with AC/DC, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi. I mean, this guy is the real deal. So it took us 2 years to build that album. So I'm very, very proud of it.
Yeah, you mentioned John Webster, who you guys collaborated, if I'm correct, on Redemption, which was produced by John Webster.
Yeah, well, Redemption is the title of my album that's coming out on the 24th of October.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the album is produced by John Webster. So when you think about it, this version of The Real Me is John Webster's version, because this guy is a mastermind. It's him that built a part for Brad to have a solo and the sound and everything. The song was recorded at Iponics Hipposonic Studio, which used to be Little Mountain Studio in Vancouver. So it's like a legendary studio. So it's really recorded like in the old days, you know, with a real drum, with the real board and everything. It's all the equipment from Little Mountain Studio is all still there. The frames on the wall, everything is exactly the way it was when Aerosmith worked there and all those guys.
I just have so many questions running through my mind. I got to ask you, before you mentioned Pete Townsend, have you spoken to Pete at all? Does Pete know about this new release?
No, but I'd love to see my phone ring and just look at it and it said Pete Townsend. And let me tell you something, I would answer real fast.
Wow. So yeah, because you know he's the one that sang the Real Me.
Wow, he's amazing.
All right. So oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Pete Townsend is amazing. He's the main songwriter of the Who. People tend to forget that.
Absolutely. So if Pete's listening somewhere or someone in his circle is listening, we got to give Rick Hughes a call. Make sure that happens. Um, you know, Rick, I was thinking of this. In the 80s in Canada, was your dream, one of your dreams was to make it to the United States to play in arenas in the USA? Was that a dream of yours?
Yes, of course. That's what got me through my teenage year. You know, where it's music, it's going to see shows and dreaming about my future. You know, I couldn't see myself doing anything else than be a rock singer. That was my main purpose in life since I was 12 years old.
And you know, I'm just wondering about the heavy metal scene in Canada. You know, in the 80s, early 80s, was there a lot of competition for you guys?
Yeah, but it was a healthy competition. For instance, Voivod and Sword have the same manager. So we were like, we did some shows together. We would hang out once in a while together. Yeah, well, let's face, you know, there's a lot of talent in the USA, and there's a lot of talent in Canada too. You know, it's we have great musicians, great comedians. Same goes for you guys in the USA.
And we're talking with legendary vocalist of Sword, Rick Hughes. He's with us this morning. During your career, Rick, you must have played hundreds of shows and opened for so many legendary rock bands. I read you've opened for Metallica, Motorhead, Metal Church, Alice Cooper, Bon Jovi, as you mentioned. Any stories that you can share with us that sticks to your head about any of those bands I mentioned?
Well, listen, one thing's for sure is that I got plenty of stories, but I've been very, very, very blessed and lucky for the names you've just mentioned, because those guys are the real deal. You know, I could have toured with people that don't have the same morals. I have a guy like Lemmy. Lemmy was perfect. I was a kid when I toured with Motorhead. It was one of my first tour in the UK, and Lemmy was like a mentor, because this guy was a real deal. He would treat people nicely. He was already iconic back in the 80s. Lemmy was there was one Lemmy, one Ozzy, one Lemmy, and just to watch him, you know, how he would be around with his crew, with the opening act. He gave me an example of how to behave later on in life. Same goes with Metallica. These guys were great. They were fans of Sword. That's how we got the opening slot. They were coming to Canada, and they got in touch with our manager, and they said, "Listen, the guys, they keep listening to your album, Sweet Dream. Sorry, Metallized, in the tour bus, and they're coming to Canada. They'd love to have you as an opening act." And the response was that, well, we keep listening to Master of Puppets, so yeah, it would be a great mix.
I mean, if that doesn't make you feel good, Metallica, they wanted you guys to open for them. I mean, what an honor.
I know. And if you fast forward to 2023, when they came here, they did 2 dates at Montreal Stadium, 60,000 people each night. So that's close to 150,000 people came to see them. So just a month before the show, we got a call, and they invited us to be like the band for the tailgate party before the happening. So at the stadium, they set up a stage, and when people arrived on the Friday, because they played Friday and Sunday, it was one show, and it was Sword that was playing there at their request.
I mean, right there. If it was me, I would say to myself, I think, guys, I think we made it. We made it to the big leagues.
Exactly.
What about Bon Jovi? Anything you can share with us?
Bon Jovi is the same. This guy, when I toured with him for the Keep the Faith tour, so that's back in 1992. You know, there was a lot of stories of people abusing drugs, alcohol, the system, others. You know, rock music can be very hazardous, but Bon Jovi was straight and narrow. You know, so I would watch him, and I would go, okay, that's how he got that's how he got those songs. That's why it's so good, because this guy is down to earth. He's not playing Rockstar, and if somebody could have played Rockstar, it's him. He was Bon Jovi, but no, he was not. One night we were supposed to have dinner as a group, but there was a snowstorm, so they had a reservation in a restaurant, and they canceled that, and they say, we'll pick a room in the auditorium in the arena, and we'll set up the dinner there. So we said, okay. So I was a bit down and out, you know, because I said, wow. Well, when it was time to go to dinner, they knock on my door. They say, Rick, are you coming? We're waiting for you. I says, yeah, I'm coming. So I got out, and Bon Jovi John got out of his dressing room. So we walked together to that place, and there was one table left and 2 chairs. So I sat with John, and I had dinner with him and the rest of the gang, but I was alone at the table with him. So I had him to myself for at least 45 minutes. And so he gave me a lot of advice that I asked for, you know, because he's not the kind of guy who's tell you what to do, but I wanted to know. So I asked him a lot of questions.
Unbelievable. And finally, you know, so many others you opened for, but I mean, Anthrax, Marilyn Manson. Any quick stories you can share about any of those 2 bands?
Well, when I opened for Anthrax, it was a triple bill. It was a Black Label Society. So I was really looking forward to meeting Zach. So I did. And I was not disappointed. This guy's, again, is the real deal. So cool. This guy is very, very, very cool. But, you know, just to finish on John Bon Jovi.
Go ahead.
It's worth to mention that on the album coming out on the 24th of October, there's a song that is co-written by me, Aldo Nova, and John Bon Jovi.
Really? So October 24th, you have this new album. What is the title of the album?
Redemption.
All right. Yep. So everyone listening, October 24th, the release of Redemption by Rick Hughes.
Yeah, it's a rock album.
Unbelievable. Rick, I have a couple of minutes left with you. Do you have a website that you can give us?
Yes, just type rickhughes.co. And this is my official website. You can follow me on Facebook, Rick Hughes, or like I said, on YouTube, Rick Hughes Official. And when the album is going to come out on the 24th of October, I suggest everybody to listen to it because there's plenty of surprise. For instance, we got Robbie Krieger playing on a song with iconic sound with his SG. He starts the song on a slide. It's oh man, it's more than a dream come true because I never even dreamt that one day I have Robbie Krieger play on my album. I mean, I'm a big Doors fan.
Amazing. And you know, Rick, you have one of those respected and distinguished voices that's, really easy to recognize. I'm just curious, all these years playing on stage and, 40, 50 years of playing, how do you keep your voice in shape?
By staying in shape, making sure that I don't abuse of anything. As I get older, I try to stay balanced. Not too much of this, not too much of that, and everything is fine. But about the voice, I was asked before if I had professional training, and I always answer. My professors, my teachers were the ones that I looked up to when I was 15, and I had to learn to sing songs from Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC. It was hard, but that's how I learned to sing.
Yeah, and Rick, I mentioned that because I think that's so important. It really makes you stand out. As far as your competition, for me, that's what I noticed hearing you.
Thank you so much. That's my pride and joy.
So I have 1 minute. Oh, go ahead. I have 1 minute left.
I was going to say singing to me is my pride and joy. That's what I love to do most.
And you must love performing on stage better than recording in the studio, right?
Exactly. The reason for this album is to get some gigs here and there, everywhere, in the US of A and UK and Canada, anywhere. I'll go.
Well, I mean, we're on USA Radio, so, I have a lot of listeners, so everyone's hearing. So hopefully you'll get a few calls. Listen, I really appreciate it. And again, for everyone listening, The Real Me is out. Rick Hughes, Brad Gillis, Rudy Sarzo, Tommy Aldridge. Anything you want to add before I say goodbye, Rick?
No, thank you so much for the support. And I invite everybody to go and listen to The Real Me today on YouTube. And they'll see it's something else. Yeah.
Rick Hughes of Sword. Until next week, happy collecting to all.